Hey guys, this is Tyler with Analytive, and today I am super excited to bring you a talk that I did for Fort Collins Startup Week. So I had the opportunity to speak and present at Fort Collins Startup Week. It was an amazing time, and this is a new talk that I've never actually given before, hadn't given prior to the talk. And so I gave this actually this past Friday. And I really wanted to focus on. I looked back at 2018, right, at Analytive and what we had done and the successes that we had. And I sort of mapped out and found that there were kind of four rules. I call them rules, but four sort of themes on all the campaigns that actually worked for us. So in this talk, I break down what those four rules are and how you can incorporate them into your own business. And like I said, I truly believe that every campaign that we launched in 2018 that was successful had these four things in common. And I plan to use them a ton in 2019 as well. And I'm already using them for a lot of what we're doing for our clients. So I was really grateful for the opportunity to present, and I hope you enjoy this podcast. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Friday of Startup Week. Super excited to be here. My name is Tyler Brooks. I run a marketing agency called Analytive. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today about what I've learned over the past 7 years, going to be some rules that I think will really help you guys as you learn to grow your business. First of all, though, I want to give a huge shout out to all the spaces, all the people, all the speakers who make Startup Week possible. It's really awesome that we have such an amazing community here where you can come. It's completely free, sponsored. Cohere, thanks to them for letting us just have this space. I know it's kind of crowded. If you have an empty seat beside you, which there aren't many, maybe we can squeeze in. I know there's a couple people in the hallway. Sorry, guys. That's fine. So let me just share a little bit of my heart too. So I work with a lot of small businesses in the B2B space and B2C and a lot of different spaces. And I truly believe that business is one of the most powerful entities to actually change culture and to change the world. So I believe that each of you guys in here it represents maybe a business, maybe a nonprofit, a community organization, maybe you're a solopreneur, right? You're doing your thing, but together we're making an impact in the world, and we do things that governments can't do, right? Frankly, and so I'm really glad, and I hope that today this is useful because I want to help you spread your message, your vision, your goal out to more people so that you can have a bigger impact, right? That's my goal today, is to help empower you to have the biggest impact that you can possibly have for your business. Because I know if I can help you guys reach more people, that you guys are going to change the world. It's as simple as that. So that's kind of my heart as I get into this. Make sense? Okay. So Tyler, like I said, I founded a company called Analytive. We specialize in digital marketing. We don't do a lot of social media. We do a lot of paid advertising. We do a lot of search. We do a lot of direct engagement. We have a ton of different clients, and I want to show you, talk to you a little bit about some of the successes we had as a company in 2018. Not because I want to say, oh, look, Tyler's so great, because I'm not so great. It's mostly my team that has done most of the work. But also I want to show you that we've got the arrows in our backs, right? Because we have worked really hard, and we've made a lot of mistakes. And so I want to show you a little bit of what we've done that succeeded, so you know that where I'm coming from is a place of we've made a lot of mistakes to get to where we are. So we worked with a company down in Boulder that's part of the Inc. 5000, netted them over $3 million in new revenue with their sales team and with their in-house marketing team in 2018. We 10x organic traffic to a database type site. It's actually a startup here in Fort Collins. So we know how to architect a site for search, again, through a lot of trial and error and adjustment as we've gone on. And then we are actually working with a manufacturing company who is launching into Mexico, getting their products into Mexico. You hear a lot of people outsourcing their development overseas. Well, they're actually selling products made here into Mexico in the manufacturing space. So massive success with them. They're super pumped about the results. But this came through a lot of hard work, right? And so for our B2B clients, we've gotten them leads from a lot of these clients and many more, right? So we kind of niche down into, like I said, a lot of manufacturing, software development, but the principles that I'm going to talk about today apply to just about every company. So how did we do this? When you give a talk like I'm about to give or giving right now at Startup Week, there's a challenge because all of you guys are in different places, right? You have different types of businesses. I understand that there's a very diverse group of businesses represented in this room. I'd like to understand that. So I'm just going to ask you, how many of you guys are like solopreneurs? Like you are the person in your business, okay? a good bit. How many of you guys are part of, say, a team of less than 10, right? Good. How many of you guys are actually the owner, the founder, kind of the buck stops with you person in the business? Yeah, awesome. And then any startups in here that have, angel money, venture money, friends and family money that you've actually raised money before? No. Awesome. I am actually super pumped about this because when you work with clients and when I work with businesses like you guys, you have to make every dollar count. Right? If you raise millions and millions of dollars, yeah, you can just market to everybody and you can reach the world. But for those of us, because I'm in the same boat, I've never raised money for a business in my life, right? Like I'm self-funded, bootstrapped, whatever you want to talk about. That's how I've grown our business. So I respect that. And what I want to do is really give you guys, I'm so excited, give you guys the tools to be able to do this. So, as we look back at 2018, trying to boil it all down and make the talk actually worthwhile to as many folks as possible, I realized that there are 4 basic rules that we followed on everything that we did that was successful in 2018, right? And so I'm going to share some of those. Some of them are going to be intuitive. Some of them are going to be a little counterintuitive for you guys, right? But I want to map out, as you focus on reaching those dream clients, how you can actually follow these 4 simple rules, right, to reach your clients, right? And I believe truly there isn't a business in here that if you adopt a disciplined adoption of these 4 rules that you couldn't double your revenue in 2019. I believe that because I see it over and over and over. And I look back at our successes with our clients, internally with our business, and it continues to be these same 4 rules. All right, so here's what I asked from you guys then. I'm gonna move this so I don't trip over it. Okay, so as soon as you're convinced that these 4 rules are the secret to growing your business, I'm gonna ask you to go all in with that. Right, and no, I'm not going to sell you anything at the end. I'm not going to ask you for any money, right? So just if you're like, oh, is he going to ask us to sell? Like maybe I'll work with you guys someday. I hope I get the chance to do that. I'm not going to sell you, but I want you to go all in on these because I actually believe in them, right? I actually believe that they are going to change your business. So what does it mean to go all in? This guy is not going all in. This guy, right, is going all in, right? And since we're in Colorado, I have to make at least one ski reference. This guy, not going all in, he's taking his time. This guy is going all in, right?
Nice.
So I don't know what your goals are. So let's talk about your goals. Maybe your goal is to simply have an amazing business that provides for your family, right? That's kind of in the boat that I'm at, and so very grateful. So maybe that's your business where you are right now. Maybe you have, dreams and ambitions of being a billionaire, something like that, Lambos, Ferraris, private jet, the mansion. That's fine too, right? Or maybe for some of you guys, you're in a community foundation and it's just to help somebody in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like, right? Maybe that's your goal. I think maybe all 3 of those are your goal. That's also a very noble thing as well. But I know that you can't achieve these goals without the ability to market and sell your product or service. It's as simple as that. Even if you're in a nonprofit, your ability to get donations, to get volunteers, to get team members and resources in place, the ability to sell your product or service is fundamental to your ability to achieve your goal, right? So again, I'm gonna ask you as soon as you're convinced that these 4 rules are for you, that we'll go all in. Cool? Good, you gonna commit to me with that? All right, so you're only 4 rules away. Now, before we get into those, if you've struggled in the past, it's not your fault. I understand, this is hard. Marketing is hard, right? I'll be the first one to say it. You've seen a lot of talks giving you pointers, giving you tips. You're up here listening, you're trying to find the secret, the magic bullet. It's hard, right? But it's even harder because there's so much bad advice out there, right? I was talking actually with a local doctor, same thing, bootstrapped his practice, and he was told by another agency in town, like, oh, to improve SEO, you just need to blog, right? And he's like, well, what do I blog about? They don't provide any direction. Or maybe you need to be on social media, right? You need to be on social media, you need to be on Snapchat, and is MySpace still a thing? I don't know, there's so many things to do. So if you're struggling, I'll tell you, it's not your fault. And if you look a little bit like this, it totally makes sense, right? And so I've spent 7+ years and I've discovered the hard way, right? And the hard way is to try and do all of this at the same time. But I will, or maybe you see something like this, right? The periodic table, I don't even know what this means, right? But this is the hard way, right? And so what I'm going to do is really going to try and boil it down for you guys because I believe that there are these rules that will guide you in the process. Or I like to also think of them as cheat codes. So growing up, I had a cousin who was about 2 years older than I was, and I grew up in the N64, the Nintendo 64 era. And so we would go over to his house. My mom hated it, but we would play GoldenEye because you would shoot people, and she wasn't a fan of that. But we loved to play GoldenEye on his N64. And then one day I went over to his house, and if you remember the N64, so it was a little black box, and you stick the cartridge in the top. Pretty simple. He got this thing called a Game Shark. And a Game Shark is a cartridge you stick in, then you stick the other cartridge in on top of it. Suddenly it would unlock all of these power-ups. You could have unlimited ammo, you could have unlimited health, you could have all of these things. And I truly believe that there are some cheat codes. It doesn't make it quite as easy as video game cheat codes, but it can help simplify the process, right? And there's a group of people that over the years, over really the past 100 years, have figured it out. And these people are called direct marketers, right? So they are people who live and die, much like us, on their ability to market and sell their product. So a lot of these rules I have borrowed, I have stolen, I've ripped off, I've learned from, I've adjusted from those types of people. The Dan Kennedys, the Russell Brunsons, people who have done this many, many times. And now I'm going to share those with you. So you ready for the 4 rules? Okay, so if you have a pen, this is the part where you wanna take some notes. Okay. Rule number 1, you will find the right people. We're going to talk about audience. We're going to talk about how to find the right people in your business, right? You will find the right people. I know this one this is probably the most intuitive one, but if the audience isn't right, if they can't buy, if they're not your dream client, no point in even marketing to them. Number 2, you will make an offer. There will always be an offer in your advertising. All right? Rule number 3. You will follow up. Oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you some horror stories of examples I've seen of businesses that don't follow up. And I guarantee you, right now in your business, there is opportunity, unless you're amazing, which then you should just be giving this talk, but you will follow up. There's so many leaky buckets, so many holes in your marketing funnel. I've seen them, I've experienced them in our own business, in our client businesses, and then just in general businesses that I work with every day. And finally, you will put your business on a strict marketing diet, right? The answer is not always more. It's about focusing on the things that are really, really working. And we're going to talk about how to measure those things. And I'm going to break down these 4 rules. Make sense? Guys tracking so far? Good. All right. Rule number 1, you will find the right people. If you can't find the right people, they can't buy. So how do you do this? Right? How do you find the right people for your business? I could give a master class on this. I mean, we could go really, really deep, but I only have about 10 minutes on this topic. So I'm going to divide up. Well, first of all, we'll talk about the old way, right? The old way is just sort of spray and pray, right? Put as much marketing messages, buy as many ads as you can possibly afford, put them in every magazine, put them on every website, and do as much as you can, right? But with the new way, we can be a little more precise, right? We can be a little more precise in the way that we look for people. And I will also tell you, from here I'm going to start breaking this down into 2 kind of categories. One, for simplification, it'll be B2B, business to business, right? This is where you actually know who your client is. You have some idea, because a lot of the business to business clients we work with, they maybe have 500, 1,000 companies in the world who would buy their product or service. They already have a hit list that they know that they want to reach out to. So we're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to show you some ways to do this in business to consumer, right? So if you're selling shoes, if you're selling sunglasses, or a simple service that applies to a lot of different people, I'm going to show you some ways to do that too. But again, could go super deep, but let's go into B2B first. So account-based marketing. Account-based marketing is something within the last year we've started adopting internally. And it's really, the big difference is, instead of waiting for people to come to you, you determine the people that you want to reach and you go to them with your marketing, right? And I'm not talking about spamming, so just to be clear, right? And I learned doing research and then during just working with our clients that in most B2B sales, in the sales pipeline, only about 1% of the leads that come in actually convert into revenue, right? So that means 99% of the leads that come in are actually wasted, right? We're not doing anything with them. Think of it as fishing with a net, right? When you throw out a net, for those of you who are maybe fishermen or fisherwomen, for women, you catch whatever happens to come in. You'll probably get a couple good fish, maybe one really big fish, but then you're going to get a lot of stuff that you're not really interested in, right? No problem, because in a net you just pick it out. But if that's filling up your sales pipeline as a business, that becomes a problem because you're reaching out, your sales team gets busy and they're not chasing the leads that they should. They're chasing all of these small leads, right? So what we do then is we can actually flip the funnel on its head. So on the left side, we have a traditional marketing funnel, right? And this is for you folks who are in B2C, or if you've ever opened a marketing textbook, you've probably seen this. Starts with awareness, interest, consideration, purchase, right? So With account-based marketing, we simply just flip it on its head and we say, we want to identify the people in the key accounts that are the decision makers. Then we say, who else has influence on that decision? Right? Who else is part of that decision-making process? Then we want to engage with those people. This is what we think of when we think of marketing, right? We put ads in front of them. We send them a mailing. We do anything that we actually think of when we think of marketing comes in this section right here. And then finally, we get them to advocate for us. They become champions for us within the organization that helps push it through. Okay, so steps to ABM. Again, you could go really, really deep on this, but I'm just going to give a quick list. So identify who are the key decision makers at the company. Expand who else needs to get involved in the decision-making process. Engage, how do we get ads and content in front of them, right? This is the actual campaign. And how do we get them to become your champion? Okay, step one is identify, right? So how do you identify, for those of you, anybody in here in B2B, business to business? Yeah, right? So how do you identify who those clients are? Well, first of all, I hope you have a pretty good idea, right? So there's a little bit of assumed knowledge. Start with your CRM, right? Your Rolodex, whatever you want to call that, your email list. Start with those people. Who has already interacted with you, whether at a trade show, they've been to your website and signed up for something that you're offering. Start with them. This is where LinkedIn is super powerful tool, especially if you especially want to get in and understand like the org chart within a particular organization. Who are the decision makers? Just Google it, right? Who are the vice president? Who's the engineer, director of marketing, etc. And then for one of our clients, I just signed up for all their industry publications, and we go through and we look at the big companies who are buying ads in those industry publications. We start making a hit list there and then dive in. So we start identifying the accounts. Okay, you can look and target them by email, company size, skill set, right, job titles. Again, I don't have time, unfortunately, to really talk about how to do this, like to go on LinkedIn or to go on any of the ad platforms and actually talk to them. But what we want to do is we kind of want to put them in a bubble, right? So we want to reach them wherever they are of our content. And so it's almost impossible for companies that are self-funded like you guys to actually, create a bubble where you're everywhere. You can't be like Coke and spend $1 billion on ads. But if you only need to reach about 100 people, you can really surround them and put them in a bubble of your content. So when they're on Facebook, they're seeing you. When they're on LinkedIn, they're seeing you. When they're checking the news on whatever news website they happen to be on, they're seeing you, right? Like that's affordable for a lot of small businesses, right? Yeah, you can't reach 100 million people, but 100 people becomes totally reasonable, right? And yeah, you might pay more per lead and all this, but if you're reaching those 100 people or those 1,000 people or whatever that really matter, huge, huge impact. Okay, right? And also, this is never an excuse to avoid talking to people in real life, right? You should be working with the sales team, the people on the front lines. One of the things I love about account-based marketing like this is when done well, it sort of provides marketing air cover, if you will, for the boots-on-the-ground salespeople, right? So if you're having a conversation with a client, wouldn't you want them to also be seeing your ads? Like that makes tons of sense. And I think a lot of folks think, well, I'm already having a conversation with them. I don't want them to see them. Why not? You want to be top of mind all the time. Yeah, you don't want to spam them and send them newsletters and all that. I'm not advocating for that, but they can see your ads, right? That can work. All right, and then expand, right? So who are the other decision makers in the process? Talk to your prospect, obviously, if you've got them. And who, does the CFO need to be involved? The financial people, the lead engineer, the director of marketing. Who else is involved in this process? So LinkedIn's super powerful. And again, just talk to the prospect, please. All right, engage. And again, this is what we think of as marketing. Make a strong offer. And our goal here is micro conversions, right? This is where you put a piece of content, you add value to their life, right? So that then they start to understand the value of reciprocation, right? If you're giving them lots of content, you're engaging with them, you're adding value, they start to trust you, you're already building that relationship. You've probably, if you've been to any of their talks, you hear a lot about content marketing. This is a great opportunity. This is content marketing, but to a super niche audience, right? To people who can only buy. You guys tracking with me so far? Feeling this? Okay. All right, and then finally advocate. So build champions within the organization. Okay. All right, that was a super 101 crash course on account-based marketing. So how many of you guys now are in like a B2C space? Yeah, a lot of B2C people. Let's talk to you guys for a second. So B2C market. I'm going to show you one of the best research tools we have at our disposal right now. Really, really powerful. And that's called Facebook Audience Insights. You've probably heard a lot about Facebook ads this week. A lot of money right now is being spent on Facebook ads. They are really powerful, for sure. But Facebook also has a tool, if you log into your ad platform, called Audience Insights that you may or may not know existed. I didn't know it existed until 6 months ago or so, and it's been around for a long time. But it actually tells you a lot about the people who are part of your core audience. So I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like, right? So I was curious, so I just went in and I picked a random topic, ketosis, right? So maybe you're in the healthcare space, this might apply to you, but you could put in any word and you just put it down here in the interest category. And I know this is small, but it's a screenshot, I'm sorry. So we put in ketosis, and then it starts to give me some demographic info. It gives me page likes info, super powerful. It gives me location info, and it gives me the activity that these people are doing. So what's really interesting to me about this is that when you type in our example, ketosis, it starts to separate out by age and gender. For example, according to Facebook, their audience, which is around 5 to 6 million people, I think, 5 to 6 million monthly active, 84% of them are women, right? Really powerful. So if I am getting ready to launch a new product, the male audience is going to be a lot smaller, right? So that might determine, like, if I'm trying to prioritize my product list, like which products I'm actually going into. Right, and then we can also see age, right? 45 to 54, that's a big age group, 35 to 44, right? So this accounts for about 50% right here in that age group, right? So you're not targeting older people, you're not targeting, so 35 to 55, that's your demographics, right? So you can use this, and again, you don't have to be spending money on Facebook ads to use this tool, you just have to set up an account, right? So even if you're like, I'm never gonna do Facebook ads, if you wanna understand the type of people nationally, globally, locally that are buying, go in here, okay? You guys tracking? Make sense? Okay, so, all right, this is where it gets really cool. So page likes. So now it goes in and says, okay, out of that 5 million or 6 million people, what are the pages that they have liked on Facebook? And then we can start making a list. So number 1 is community, right? That low carb life and hungry girl. Don't know anything about these pages, but I know that if I have a product in this space, those people are also engaging with those brands. So the first thing I do is I click on that and I go to their page. Then I go to their website and I start to understand who those brands are. What messaging are they using? How are they engaging with their client audience? Because I want to borrow that. I know that it's working, that they already have tons of likes, tons of engagement. I know there's a bakery. So I was curious, right? Health food store. So again, assume you were selling some kind of product, a Thrive Market. Didn't know anything about them, right? So first thing I do, I can go to their website and see, oh, wow, like, this is the branding, this is the design, this is sort of the format that they're using. That's really useful to me, right? To understand who your competitors are. Super, super, super powerful. Okay? Make sense? Like, this is I think this is really one of the hidden features in Facebook Audience Insights that isn't being talked about enough right now, right? The ability to really see who people are engaging with. For example, I had a company that we were working with that was selling kegerators, right? It was pretty simple, but I went in there, I said, okay, what do these people like? I found a few of the biggest craft beer magazines I didn't even know existed, right? We create not only this, but then the reason Facebook gives this to you is they want you to go and create audiences, right, I'll go back, out of this, right? So you can actually save this as an audience and you can put ads in front of those people, right? So that's the next logical step. But even if you're not gonna do that, right? Even if you're like, I don't have any marketing budget, whatever, it's still a really powerful research tool, right?
Where do you get to this tool?
It'll be in your ads manager. Okay. In Facebook, yeah. It's on the business side, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and if you Google, Facebook Audience Insights tool, you should be some pretty clear instructions on how to get there. Okay. So then I go to location, right? So we're kind of working our way through these 4 tabs. So we go to location. I can see, with ketosis, not anything super interesting other than one place in Tampa, right? That Tampa has a 33% higher engagement rate than anywhere else in the US. So if I'm localized, it might be really useful. And then finally, you can go to activity. You can see what, by and large, these people are doing. So you can see what pages they liked. I know it's kind of grayed out, but pages they liked, comments, the posts that they liked, posts that they shared, promotions redeemed, and ads clicked. These people click on a lot of ads, right? So I know that this is an audience that if I'm actually going to advertise on Facebook, might be pretty ripe to advertise to. I know that they are actually engaging. If this was really low, I'd say, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe Facebook ads isn't the right channel to do that, right? And then you can start going in and building these audiences, and you can understand, oh, what about ketosis? What about nutritional supplements? What about this? Again, pick all the keywords that are related to your business and start understanding the audience. You spend a half hour in here, you're going to have a really good idea of what your audience actually looks like on a national level. So yeah, this is, if there's one tool that's most underrated in Facebook right now, I think it's this. Facebook ads are fine, but the ability to really understand your audience, super powerful. In fact, so find ways to follow others who've already succeeded. Again, we're learning from them. Facebook audience size, it's like having your own personal focus group with billions of people, right? For free. Like super cool. Super, super, super cool. All right. Okay. Rule number 1, wrapping it up, you will find the right people. I hope I just gave you a taste of what you can do. But you need to understand your audience. If you don't understand your audience, everything is gonna go what time? Okay. All right. Rule number 2, you will make an offer. Always, always, always make an offer, right? I'm gonna borrow a little Godfather reference here. You wanna make them an offer that they can't refuse. It has to be an amazing offer. Zig Ziglar, one of the great sales trainers of all time, talks about one of the big problems with the salespeople he trained is that they never actually ask for the close. They never ask for the sale. And he jokes about them being a professional visitor. A lot of the ads I see are professional visitors. They show up on your site, they show up on your page. They don't ever make an offer, right? They're literally just professional visitors. So now you might be like, well, Tyler, like that seems a little extreme. So I'm just going to ask for the sale every time. No, because there are 2 types of offers, right? There's a request for purchase offer. This is what we think of when we think of offer. And then there's a lead gen offer, a lead generation offer, okay? Very different types of offers, okay? So the request to purchase offer, this is probably what you're familiar with, right? Again, when you think of offer, and when I first said always make an offer, what you thought about. So this is sales, discounts, maybe a Groupon, buy now, 30 sales left, 24 hours left, something like that. Maybe it's a free consultation. Right? A lot of people think that a free consultation for your business is actually, really beneficial to the client. The fact is, if they're going to book a free consultation with you, they're already 98, 99% of the way there, right? So it's basically a request for purchase offer. So there's a spot for these, right? And let me talk about the pros and the cons. So the pros are, first of all, you get revenue, right? Like if somebody comes in and buys, it's money in your business. Amazing. It's also easy to measure. Right? Very easy to measure. Like, oh, you put an offer out, somebody clicked on the ad, they came in. The cons, 99% of your audience aren't ready to convert right now. Right? They don't have the need for it. You also have no way to follow up because it's either you're in or you're out. Right? There's no follow up, there's no indoctrination, there's no branding, there's no opportunity to really get to them in the long run. There's also a very high resistance threshold. Again, this goes back to they're not ready to convert. They're like, no, I don't want what you're offering. And we see this a lot with, Payless Shoes just went out of business, right? You do sales and discounts all the time. That can hurt your long-term business, and it actually can change the way people buy from you. If you're always offering 25%, 50%, 10% discounts constantly, people are going to wait for those. It's going to start to eat into your margins, and you're going to change their behavior. As soon as you kill them, your revenue is going to drop, right? So there are times where these work, but there's another type of offer that, most of the time this is too much. So the other type of offer is a lead generation offer. The goal is to simply get somebody to raise their hand, right? To say, yes, I am interested broadly in this product or service. And you do that by adding a lot of value to them. So here are some example lead gen offers that you could put together. So say that you ran a karate school. Anybody run a karate school in here? I didn't think so, but it was worth a shot. Parents' Guide to Cyberbullying and Raising Emotionally Strong Kids, right? And this is an amazing offer, not because it's just a piece of content, but it also gets to the real reason why a lot of parents would put their kids in karate, right? Because maybe they're getting bullied at school, they're dealing with something like that. It's emotional strength. Mattress store. Again, most of the big mattress companies now do this, right? Why you can't seem to get a good night's sleep, right? Back it up with science, studies, research. IT consultant, right? You are the target cybersecurity before it's too late. Career counseling, finding your passion, the ultimate guide to getting the right career. Again, just some examples. This could be a video. It could be a mailing. It could be a DVD. It could be an email newsletter. It could be an ebook. It could be in any form that you want it to be. But the idea is that, my kid is getting bullied, right? So maybe karate school isn't even the logical jump that I need to make. But if I see this, I know, man, cyberbullying, I need that, right? What are parts of it? And maybe out of those 5 points in there, one of them is to enroll them in martial arts. Maybe that helps, right? And so that's sort of your foot in the door. And then not only that, but if you do this in a way where you have their address or their email address, you can continue to follow up with them over time. Becomes super, super powerful. So don't always go for the sale right away, right? So let me give you a simple script. If you're like, okay, Tyler, like how do I actually turn this into something? So you say you create a lead gen offer, right? So say that you go back and you say you have your parent's guide to cyberbullying, right? The script that you put on your landing page that you can put in your email, you could record a little video, is simple. It's who, what, why, how, right? So I'm just going to do that for you real quick. Hi, guys. My name is Tyler Brooks. I'm a 7th degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I run XYZ Karate School for Kids. Well, I see every day kids that come in that have been bullied, right? Whether it's cyberbullying, whether it's bullying in school, and it really makes me sad. And one of the best ways to do that is to help build confidence in your kids, and martial arts provides a great way to do that. So that's the what, and then the why is to build confidence, and then the how is simply, so here's what I've done. I've created this guide that I want to give you guys. Just put your email in the link below, fill it out, I'll send it to you, and it's going to be available, and you can put a time limit on it if you wanted to, but for 2 hours. I mean, it's really quite simple, right? The who, what, why, how. Your landing page could do that, your email could do that, again, you can do it in a video, you can even do it to people that you meet, who come into your school, right? Maybe for the first consultation. Super simple, really, really practical way to do that. Who, what, why, how. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, rule number 2, you will make an offer. Any questions on this one? We're starting to click, starting to make sense. Okay. All right, rule number 3. Oh, this one. You will follow up. You will always, 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 always follow up. Again, a little Godfather reference here. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Here's the thing. You pay for every lead, every phone call, and every website visit that you get, right? Whether it's with your time, whether it's through the advertising that you get. So let's just run some math here real quick. So if I have a $1,000 ad spend, right, and that generates 50 phone calls for my business, every single one of those leads I don't follow up on is like taking a $20 bill and putting it through the shredder, right? Does that make sense? Like, feel that for a minute. Like, if you're spending $1,000 on ads and you don't follow up, it's just like shredding money, right? Because businesses have leaky buckets, right? We have this bucket, and we're, our funnel, we're trying to get them down to the bottom, but at all points they're exiting. So as a business owner, right, you need to start plugging as many of these holes in the bucket as you possibly can, right? And it'll make your dollars that you spend on advertising that much more powerful. Because if you lose half of your leads, right, it's going to cut your ROI at least in half, if not more, from the ad spend that you're actually doing, right? So here are some really popular places that customers leak out, right? So they visit the website, they don't take any action. We're going to talk about how to help with that. In-store visits, phone calls, email lists, right? These are the most popular ones. So let's talk first about websites. So at Analytive, we run a blog, and I wrote a blog post back, I think it was like 2015, about Google Analytics. It was answering some questions related to the Google Analytics tool and software. Gets tons of traffic. It's ranked in 1, 2 position for the key terms. It was sort of an accident. We get a ton of traffic to this blog. People would come, and then they would leave, and they wouldn't do anything further. So I said, how do we start to engage with these visitors? Yeah, they're looking for information, so it's a low intent search. They're not ready to come and buy from me. But I created a 45-minute video, Google Analytics training, and we put this at the bottom of the article, right? So now if somebody comes, they're looking for information about Google Analytics, they can get our training, they sign up for our email list, I can continue to engage with them in the future, right? I see this as a missed opportunity a lot with blog traffic in particular. Everybody tells you, oh, you need to have a blog to generate SEO, so you write one, and maybe once in a while you get one that really hits, starts ranking in Google. But then those people just read and then they leave. So what's a small little call to action or some value that you can add to them? This is one thing we've done. We've done this on our clients too, right? And it's led to some really impactful relationships and revenue for them. Okay. In-store visits. It blows me away, as maybe it's just a digital guy, but the number of stores I go into that don't collect any information from me at all. Right? Like, I walk in, I might even make a purchase, right? I will literally spend money with them. They won't even ask for my birthday. Like, hey, we'll give you a free drink, like Starbucks gives you a free drink on your birthday. I don't know why restaurants don't do this, because if you think about it, like on my birthday, and maybe it's just me, like I have friends, but like if I'm coming for a free meal on my birthday, I'm going to bring people with me. So it's not just that like, oh, a free appetite, but I'm going to bring like 4 people. I'm going to bring my wife and some friends. Yeah, anniversaries, any kind of, discounts, like any kind of special events. Because again, with in-store visits, you want them to get used to coming into your store, right? You want to start building that habit as often as possible. So incentivizing them, even if it's just once a year, to come in on their birthday, on an anniversary, on a special event, to actually come and spend money with you. The more they come and spend money with you, the easier it becomes for them to come and spend money with you. Right? They start, mentally start to build those tracks in their head, like, oh, honey, where do you want to eat tonight? Well, let's go to XYZ restaurant. Like, we were there a month ago, and it was amazing, right? So any way that you can get them in the door, and then follow up. So that's how you ask, right? You say, hey, can I have your email address? So like, why do you want my email? Well, I'm going to send you a free drink on your birthday, right? Or a free drink for you and a friend, whatever. But the fact is, that's really, really powerful, right? Yeah, if you just want to send me your newsletter, heck no, I'm not going to give you my email. But a free drink on my birthday, I'm a sucker for free things. I'm probably going to sign up for that, right? So it could be anything. It could be, if you have a retail store, maybe it's, new purchases. Again, you can be really creative with this. But if you run any kind of physical presence store, you want to follow up. Okay, phone calls. So my wife and I just bought a house actually within the past month. But before that, so about a year ago, I was looking at apartments, was going through the moving process. I cannot tell you the number of apartment places I called where I had lots of legitimate questions. How much is a 2-bedroom? How much is a 3-bedroom? What's your vacancy rate? That nobody even tried to get any kind of follow-up information. No, hey, can we have your phone number? Can I email you a packet with details and all our amenities? Nobody even tried to do that. In fact, I needed to replace the battery on my laptop because I use my laptop all the time. The battery started to shrink in life and it would shut down randomly when it wasn't plugged in. So I called a store in town that actually does that. And they said, it's going to take 7 days to ship. And I said, okay, that's fine. Can I just give you my credit card over the phone? I use my computer every day, right? It's my lifeline to my business. I need it. They're like, no, you actually have to come in. I'm like, wait, I'll give you my credit card on the phone. You order the battery. I drop it off on a Friday. You fix it. I pick it up on Saturday. I already pay for it in advance. They're like, no, you have to come in. It's like, oh my gosh, that's money that's walking out the door. And I'm sure that the owner has some good reason, maybe fraud, whatever, but there's got to be a better way to do that, right? But there's so many times where people call into your business that you don't get a follow-up opportunity, right? And so you've paid money for those calls. You've done SEO, you've ranked in search, you're buying ads, whatever that is. So if somebody, hello, welcome to XYZ apartment complex, right? If you don't follow up, missed opportunity. Okay, and then email lists. So notice one thing that I'll say in all of this is I never tell you to have people go like you on Facebook, right, or follow you on Instagram. Instagram's a little better because the engagement rates are so low on those platforms, right? What you want is the most direct link to your customer that you can have, right? You don't want a LinkedIn, a Facebook, an Instagram algorithm sitting between you and your customer. You want to minimize the amount of friction, right, between you and your customer. And email is still one of the best ways to do that. Right? There's a lot of noise in email. Yes, there's a lot of junk. I get it. But the fact is, statistically, and I don't have the math in here, but I could go in and show you, it's better to have literally one email subscriber than almost 1,000 Facebook followers. When you look at the engagement rates right now organically on Facebook, it's so low. Right? So having them like your pages, if it's a top of the funnel thing, that's okay. But then you want to quickly move them off of Facebook because Facebook has an incentive to keep them on Facebook for as long as possible. Right? They want them to stay there. You want to get them off so they do what you want them to do, right? So there is a little bit of tug here, a little bit of tension. So make sure that you move them off. So here's how most people use email lists, right? All right, user signs up for your email list. They get a generic welcome email, then they receive, broadcast newsletters when you have time, right? Very important. All of us are busy, right? We already established none of us right now are venture funded. We don't have, 7 marketing people probably working for us that can just sit down and write newsletters. So maybe you send it out once a month. I suggest to you that there's a better way, right? And this better way is developing what's called a drip campaign, right? So what we do is we write all these emails once and then we automate the process, okay? So somebody signs up. So say that you're a restaurant, right? You come in hey, I'll put this in, give them a free drink on your birthday. Immediately receives a welcome email we've added you to the list. Keep an eye out on your birthday. We'll send you a free drink. But then maybe you have things already planned. You have coupons, you have opportunities, you have special events that are already built and programmed so that you don't even have to think about this. As soon as they get signed up to the email list, they do this. A lot of businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars, $100 million businesses use this all the time, right?
Wait a second. You literally are suggesting every day after they sign up, they should get something for 7 days?
It could be every day.
5 days.
It could be every day. It could be every month, could be every week. It depends on your business. If you're a restaurant, every day is probably a little much. But if you do health coaching, right, we know that somebody is ready to buy right now. They ended up somehow on your website. They signed up for your list. They're looking for solutions right now. You want to engage with them. So you can program this to whatever time frame you want. If it's really valuable to folks, sometimes every day, sometimes even companies will do multiple times a day, especially right at the beginning to get them really indoctrinated with your ideas, right? Because you've heard all the statistics, how it takes 7 times for somebody to hear about your brand before they buy, or it takes 9 times, or all these different numbers that are thrown out. Well, if they come into your store once, that's 1 time. But then suddenly, if you get their email, you can start engaging with them over time, right? And you can build, I have, probably 9 sequences that we've built just with an Analytive right now. We've built them for our clients. Like, it's just a really, really powerful way
Is there a program you would recommend to build the sequences in?
I use a program called ConvertKit. ConvertKit. There's one called Drip. They all are about the same. Like, they're all pretty powerful. My personal bias, I would really stay away from MailChimp. Like, I just have had really...
MailChimp?
Yeah, I would stay away from MailChimp. I know a lot of people love it. I've had really bad experiences with them. But otherwise, most of the campaigns that'll do this. But ConvertKit is the one that I use. So I think we pay about $50 a month. But so it depends also on your budget and what you have, right? But then you can take this and then you can expand it to the next level, right? So you can have a long sequence that runs for literally months, right? And yeah, it's a lot of work to build it. But once you build it, it's a business asset, right? So every time somebody lands on your site that signs up for your email list, they continue to get those because you're going to spend time, writing 12 emails this year if you do it monthly, or 52 if you do it weekly anyway. So why not start to get those so that the people who join now that missed all this good stuff back here are starting to keep getting all the good stuff that you've already done, right? Really, really powerful. You can get into this a little bit with text messages, and Facebook Messenger are 2 other ways that do this. Those are very direct, especially text messaging is a very direct form of communication, so you have to be very careful with that one. I don't use that a lot. I think there's opportunity there, but again, you have to provide a lot of value and you interact much less regularly with text messages. That's something that's very intimate, I guess is maybe the right word for that. So, and then if you want to go super ninja level, you can do emails based on behavior. Right, so if somebody clicks email A, they get directed down, this sequence, and they can get emails in the future. I mean, there's really a ton you can do. So, make sense? Yeah. Hope I have given you guys just a taste here. So, rule number 3, you will follow up. So, ready for the last one?
Yeah.
Rule number 4, you will put your business on a strict marketing diet. More is not always the answer, right? I'm on a new diet. All I eat is cucumbers, vodka, and butter. The simplest way to put this is when you look at your ad campaigns, you don't want any freeloaders, right? You want to be able to measure and track the impact that every campaign that you do is having on your top line revenue and ultimately your bottom line profit, right? And this is hard, and it's not an exact science, right? There are people who are really good at it. There are people who are not really good at it. But it's never perfect, right? I can never tell you with 100% certainty, but you should have a really good idea what are your most effective campaigns. You should have a really good idea of what those numbers look like for your clients, right? Right? And you must be driven by results and results only. Okay, and I'm going to give you 3 secrets here that'll help in a second. But before we do that, so results typically means the things that lead to revenue, right? So if you're in B2B, it's either direct revenue or it's leads, right? B2C, revenue, sales, signups. And let me just tell you, so there's 3 secrets that I use when I start coaching people on this. So the first one is most metrics don't matter, right? If you open Google Analytics, you open your Facebook ads dashboard, you open whatever analytics, even your email analytics, you can look at a lot of things and it can be really overwhelming. When I first started in analytics, I was making reports for clients. I was working at a little SEO company back in Indianapolis. And I didn't know what anything meant. And even when I did know what it meant, I didn't know what was important, right? So the simple way to do this is to back all the way out to the things that are closest to revenue for you. What I call macro conversions and micro conversions. So macro conversion is where they spend money, right? whether it's e-commerce or they show up in the store, they're actually coming in. A micro conversion could be downloading those lead gen magnets. It's the raise their hand that says, yes, I'm interested in what you have to offer, right? Signing up for the email list, whatever that thing happens to be. Start with those. Focus on those, because if you have a consistent, unrelenting focus on those, everything else will start to fall in line with enough discipline, right? It's not about impressions, right? Impressions are good and they can, they're a derivative metric, like they're useful when you're looking at the funnel as a whole. But if you're really overwhelmed, you don't know where to start with conversions. Figure out how to get the most conversions that you possibly can, and then figure out how to get the most clicks, and then figure out how to get the most impressions. Work out from the core, right? Because if you work in, you'll end up being, you'll be like, well, we have, 3 million impressions this, month on Facebook, but 0 people bought, right? There's a lot of people, a lot of companies that have that problem, right? I would rather have 100 followers and 10 of them buy than 1 million followers and none of them buy, right? Like, it's a game about we're here to make money, right? Again, we're not venture funded. We're not probably running media companies or anything like that. So it's not about ads or clicks. It's about revenue, okay? Yeah, secret number 2, avoid the hippos. And so HIPPO is an acronym. You can write this down, highest paid person's opinion. Right, you have opinions about what is going to work in your marketing. I have opinions if I work with you about what's going to work in your marketing. But the fact is that our opinions don't matter, right? We try things, we need to be creative, we need to test. Either they work or they don't, right? So you really want to avoid, especially for those of you guys who are the top, right? You're the top dog in your organization, or maybe you report to, a top dog in your organization and you have to come back with all the metrics. The thing is, if you're ever in doubt, instead of arguing with them, be like, let's test it, right? Let's test it. Let's figure out, we want to avoid the highest paid person's opinion, and we want to actually find what's working for your business, okay? All right, and secret number 3, this one is super unpopular, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Your advertising won't look like Apple or Budweiser or Coke, right? It might be a little more salesy, especially at the beginning than you want. It might be a little more hypey, but hypey is better than sleepy. But the fact is, those companies have massive budgets, right? They're trying to raise awareness, and they do brand studies about how many people saw this, how many are familiar with it. I'll put it this way, I can't play in that game, right? I need to know that if I'm spending money on ads, that if I'm working with clients, if we're spending time on search, we're writing content, I need to know that those are converting back into leads. So I know that that looking at Apple or Budweiser, yeah, it's fun, it's creative, it makes you laugh, maybe it sticks in your brain a little bit, and maybe at some point in the future it might influence your decision. But I don't have the bandwidth to play those games. I don't have the team to do it. I need to have marketing that actually works for me, right? And if you do this, the chances are, especially at the beginning, it's not going to look like those guys, right? And if you look at old Dell flyers or Apple flyers from early in the day, I mean, they were salesy, they were discounts, they were things that you wouldn't recognize the brand as you do today. And when you have $1 billion marketing budget, you can do things, and you can have a lot more waste than you can when you're a small startup. Okay, all right, cool. So if you have money to burn, you can advertise like Coke or Apple. So rule number 4, you'll put your business on a strict marketing diet. So as we wrap up, about perfect, we got 5 minutes. So let me ask you a question. So how many of you guys have been to more than one talk at Startup Week? Most of you. How many of you have been to more than 5? Yeah, totally. So you are taking in a lot of information. There's been a lot of stuff thrown at you. So what I want to do is I want to help you. Do you want someone to help keep you accountable? And no, I'm not going to sell you on our product or service, but what I've done, because I know that fewer than 1 to 3 people will act on this information, right? Probably realistically more like 1 in 10. If you really take this and adopt this as operating DNA in your organization, you will be in the rarity. So you can look to the person on your left, look to the person on your right, whoever, right? They're not going to take this and gonna jump in. So what I've done is I've put together a series of emails that I will send you over the next 6 weeks to help hold you accountable, right? It's free, no obligation, you don't have to sign up. But if you are like, wow, Startup Week was great, but I took in so much information, I need somebody to sort of help sort it out, at least in the marketing side, which is what I know. I created a little landing page, analytive.com/startup. You can write it down, you can go there on your phone right now. I just want your first name and email. You can go sign up, and over the next 6 weeks, I'll just send you a little notification today. I'm going to send you a series of emails to really help you through this process, right? I'm going to give you some guides that we've created whenever we create like a new paid ads campaign, how to really ask good questions, understand what your metrics are, understand how to focus on that. Like I said, no obligation. I just want to help you guys spread your message, right? That's really what I want to do. So if you're a little overwhelmed and you're like, I'm not going to remember any of this, other than there was, some gifts and some random stuff about a hippo, then go ahead and sign up and I'll send that to you. So, yeah. enter your email. Again, add us to your contacts, otherwise we'll end up in spam. And get ready to get your marketing in shape. So, cool. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.